Hi everyone, my name is Nikki Liu, and I'm a real estate agent here in Southern California, Orange County, and I'm with First Team Real Estate. It's the start of January 2020, and it has been a crazy, crazy month with devastating news, starting from the Australian wildfires, the volcanic eruptions around the world, and recently the coronavirus starting in Wuhan, China. And here in Los Angeles, we just lost a great legendary basketball player, Kobe Bryant, and some of the family that was in the crash. It's crazy. It's just been 4 weeks, and there's this crazy, crazy news around the world and happening, and it's big highlights. But the reason I'm recording this video is because I want to talk about some changes too in 2020 that are less talked about by a lot of people. So these are some laws. I know it's probably boring to some of you guys, but it's really good to know some new laws that will be impacting if you're a real estate agent like me or just simply an ordinary individual. It is better to be aware than not to be aware. So I'm doing a 10-part series in regards to talking about this new laws that's coming up in 2020 and talk about it, how would affect um, us real estate agents or you as an individual. Hopefully you stick around, subscribe to my channel, and this series would help you in a bit to have more knowledge in regards to some new laws that's coming out. It's a lot of laws, but at least you know a thing or two, and hopefully I can explain it in the most layman's term as I want it to explain to myself as well, and hopefully you will understand it. So feel free to leave a comment, leave your opinions. I'm very open, and hopefully we can make conversation out of this series that I'm making. So first law that I'm gonna talk about is the AB5. AB5 is a worker status, employees and independent contractors. Ooh, my favorite. Okay, so anyways, this has been a really long time talk. Ever since I was still running my cleaning business before, we have had issues already popping up in regards to misclassifications of independent contractors and employees. Well, it's because it's a very broad gray area, and let me talk about there's only like three guidelines uh, to to figure out if you're an independent contractor or not. So let me talk about the three things or three guidelines that would identify if you are the independent contractor or you fall in under the employee status. So number one is the worker is free from control and direction of the hirer in connection with the performance of the work, both under the contract for the performance of such work and in fact. Okay, so basically, independent contractor has their own, they can make their own time, they can make their own schedule. But it's like, for example, in my end, when I was still doing the cleaning business, I had independent contractors um, because they tell me when they are available. So in that sense, they still hold their schedules, and I book them according to their availabilities. Another good example of AB5 is the Uber drivers and Lyft drivers. Before, before you just accept your ride or accept whatever, Uber sends you, and you actually don't have any choice but to accept that ride. So you see how it kind of contradicts. You have your own time. Yes, you want to know, like you want to go driving on your own time, but then at the same time, you don't have any control of where you're gonna go or at what time or what distance and it's etc. So in response to the new law, so Uber has made several changes to its app for drivers in California. So I guess they allow drivers to see destination in advance now, and they remove penalties for rejecting rides. It's a new feature that allows drivers to set their own rates in like 10% increments, with the passengers seeing the lowest fare accepted by available driver and drivers seeing how long they will likely wait to get dispatched based on their chosen rates. So there's a little bit of um, flexibility now, just so they can be categorized as independent contractors. So number two, to classify that you're an independent contractor, is the worker performs work that is outside the usual course of the hiring entity's business. Now, this is a really good example going back on my scenario when I was still running 20 part-times and full-time for our cleaning business. It was um, that I had these guidelines. So I had to be very, very careful that to tell them that this is guidelines, this is the step by step that you can apply into the cleaning process. It's good that you follow it, but I encourage you to read it and learn from it so you could make it and apply it to the work, apply it to the house that you're cleaning to get better results. But then in the end of the day, they still have, their freedom to do what however they want. So it was kind of really difficult for me to um, keep the the standards that I want to have in our business, and at the same time follow the rules or regulations in regards to being an independent contractor. Okay, now the last guideline says the worker is customarily engaged in an independently established trade, occupation, or business of the same nature as the work performed by the hiring entity. So now this is, I remember back when I'm still running the cleaning business, I tell my girls that, hey, this is the hours that you gave me the whole week. Feel free to find or clean somebody else's home. Um, if it's your clientele, if it's your clients, you don't have to go through me. If you want to clean your friend's house, a relative's house, it doesn't matter. Now, the second and final law that I would like to talk about to end this first part of the series is the AB38. It's a fire safety, low cost retrofit, regional capacity review, wildfire mitigation. Now, what is this? So, the summary is that homes built before January 1, 2020 will need to be retrofitted to meet standards set by the state fire marshal, and other state agencies will need to aid in the creation of the plans to prevent more homes from burning. Now, okay, so what's new? With this law, it requires the Office of Emergency Services and the Department of Forestry and Fire Protection to create a plan for homeowners to retrofit their homes in a cost-effective way to make them more flame retardant and less susceptible to wildfire hazards. Now, as to what it was, this I have not seen any breakdown. I'll give you an update once I find the breakdown of it. Now it takes about 6 months to a year to really new laws to be effectively um, implemented. with this law, homeowners must begin to retrofit their homes with a plan set by the state fire marshal if they want to sell their homes in 2021. So now if you plan to sell in the next year or two, this code or this new standards needs to be applied to the home so you can sell. So why it's needed. So it's needed because the number of homes and the intensity of California wildfires is both growing. So the Assembly noted in its analysis of the law that supports AB 38 said changes need to be made to prevent homes from burning, especially the counties that was affected by the bushfires in in counties like Santa Clarita Valley, in Malibu, Irvine, and some here in Mission Viejo. So I think to me it's a good preventative measurement. I approve this law, and I think it is a good addition and a good change, especially to real estate, hitting residential markets. So that's it. So hopefully you learned something. Please do subscribe, and let's continue talking about these new laws that I believe that we should be aware. And I want to give a huge shout out to my partner Steve Lu, because he has been a source of all this knowledge about laws and regulation in here in California. He's not a lawyer, but he is also a commercial real estate agent like me, but he knows plenty of he's very knowledgeable of what he does, which is really really cool. And that's why he's very good at providing his service to his clients, and it really helps me to be aware of my surroundings, and especially here in California, what to be aware of and what not to do. There's a saying that ignorance of law excuses no one. So please do not be ignorant, be knowledgeable, and I assure you that it can help you in your life decisions.